Welcome to Special Education and Inclusive Practices, a guide for all certificated staff. This asynchronous training provides an overview of your role in supporting students with disabilities across inclusive learning environments. Here's a look at what we'll cover in this training. We'll begin with an overview of special education in the Renton School District. Next, we'll explore the role of the general education teacher in supporting students with disabilities. We'll then walk through the special education referral process. And finally, we'll share key resources and the link to the required exit ticket. To complete this training, review all slides, then complete the exit ticket linked at the end. This training is required for all newly hired certificated staff, including general education teachers. The Renton School District's vision of instruction guides everything we do. We are committed to providing inclusive and rigorous learning experiences where each student is empowered, engaged, and supported in a caring community. This vision applies to all students, including those with disabilities, and it anchors the inclusive practices you'll learn about in this training. Every educator is part of the support system for students with disabilities. Inclusion is not a special education initiative. It's a collective effort to ensure all students have access, support, and a sense of belonging. Our department is committed to providing meaningful access to high-quality instruction in the least restrictive environment. We focus on student growth, inclusive opportunities, and collaborative problem-solving. Supporting students with disabilities is a collaborative effort. This slide outlines key staff roles and how each contributes to inclusive education. Meet your Renton School District Special Education Facilitators. Ashley Long, Nick Dillon, and Jen Pinkowski support schools across the district. Please reach out to your assigned facilitator if you have questions or need support related to special education, inclusive practices, or for professional development needs. The least restrictive environment, or LRE, means educating students with disabilities alongside their peers whenever appropriate. Inclusion is about equitable access, belonging, and instructional support. Here's a look at how special education services are distributed across the district. This slide provides an overview of special education in the Renton School District. It highlights how students with disabilities are served across different educational settings, based on least restrictive environment categories. You'll also see a breakdown of primary disability categories represented in our district. Understanding these data points helps us better support inclusive practices and ensure equitable access to services across all schools. Renton offers several specialized programs to meet the diverse needs of students with disabilities. The Resource Learning Center supports students using a mix of in-class and pull-out instruction, with access to general education curriculum and supplemental support. The Instructional Learning Center serves students with more intensive needs in self-contained settings, focusing on functional academics and adaptive skills. The Emotional Behavior Disorder program provides individualized behavioral and academic support in dedicated classrooms, with models that vary by student need. Each program is designed to ensure students receive instruction in the environment that best supports their learning. This visual represents the process of supporting students with disabilities. From early concern to transition planning, educators are involved at every stage of the special education journey. In addition to our core special education services, Renton offers several specialized programs across the district. These include RLC classrooms at all schools, a virtual RLC option, the Grad Alliance for Credit Recovery and Flexible Pathways, and the RISE program, which serves students ages 18 to 22 focused on transition and life skills. These programs expand access and provide individualized options for students with a range of needs. Special education involves a number of key terms and acronyms that you'll hear regularly. The most common include IEP, which stands for Individualized Education Program, and SDI, or Specially Designed Instruction. You'll also hear LRE, meaning Least Restrictive Environment, and FAPE, which refers to a free and appropriate public education. Understanding these core terms will help you better navigate your role in supporting students with disabilities. General education teachers play a vital role in supporting students with IEPs. You are responsible for ensuring students have access to the general education classroom and curriculum, and for implementing all accommodations listed in their IEPs. If a student requires modifications, these are created and applied in collaboration with the special education teacher. Regular communication with your SPED teacher is essential. They are an excellent resource for strategies and support. As you take in the visual, consider how your classroom practices can help build that better space for everyone. High-leverage practices are strategies that make a meaningful impact on student learning, especially in inclusive settings. You can promote engagement by using strategies like turn and talks, response cards, or guided notes to keep all students actively thinking. Positive behavior supports involve teaching, modeling, and reinforcing expectations before problems arise. Formative assessment helps you check in on learning in real time and make adjustments when needed. Scaffolding provides just enough support to help students access complex tasks, with the goal of building independence over time. Teaching metacognitive strategies like self-monitoring or using checklists helps students reflect on how they learn. Finally, collaboration is key. Regular planning with special educators, paraeducators, and related service providers ensures support is aligned across the team. Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, is a key feature of Tier 1 instruction within a multi-tiered system of supports. UDL helps ensure that instruction is designed to be accessible and engaging for all students from the start. By incorporating UDL at Tier 1, we reduce the need for additional interventions by proactively removing barriers to learning. This approach benefits all learners, including those with disabilities, and supports inclusive classroom practices. A framework is a set of principles that guides how we approach our work. As a universal design for learning practitioner, you start with the belief that learner variability is expected, not something to fix. Students do not all need to do the same thing in the same way or at the same time to be successful. UDL also reinforces that all students can work toward the same grade level goals when given the right supports. When barriers are removed, every student has the opportunity to become an expert learner. The Universal Design for Learning guidelines are organized to help us create expert learners. An expert learner is purposeful, motivated, resourceful, knowledgeable, strategic, and goal-directed. The guidelines support educators in designing instruction that meets a wide range of learner needs while keeping grade-level goals in focus. By using the UDL framework, we aim to develop students who are not only successful in school but also confident in how they learn. One of the core goals of Universal Design for Learning is to remove barriers to learning before they happen. Rather than expecting all students to fit into one approach, UDL encourages flexible design from the start. This means offering multiple ways for students to engage, access content, and demonstrate what they know. When we plan with barriers in mind, we create learning environments where all students have an opportunity to succeed. It's important to understand the difference between accommodations and modifications. Accommodations change how a student learns the material. They provide access to the same content without lowering expectations. Modifications, on the other hand, change what a student is expected to learn. These are used when students are working on different instructional goals than their peers. Examples of modifications might include fewer or less complex assignments. Accommodations might include extended time or presenting material in smaller segments. Knowing which supports are in place for your students and how to implement them is essential for ensuring access and success. When implementing accommodations, regular collaboration with special education teachers is essential. Make sure the individualized work you provide feels similar to what the rest of the class is doing. It should not take more time to prepare than the time the student will spend on it. It also should not be too easy. Effective accommodations help students access the general education curriculum while also supporting progress toward their IEP goals. Keep the focus on meaningful access, not simplified content. Modifications can only be provided if they are specifically written into a student's IEP. They involve significant changes to instruction or assessment that alter what the student is expected to learn. Even though modified work looks different, it should still be meaningful and connected to the general education curriculum whenever possible. If you're unsure whether a student should receive modifications, always check the IEP and consult with the special education teacher. This slide shows a side-by-side comparison of modified and typical classroom work. Notice how the modified assignments are adjusted to meet the student's learning level, but still connect to the same general topic or skill. The goal is to ensure students are engaged in meaningful work that supports their learning needs, while staying aligned to broader instructional goals whenever possible. General education teachers are essential members of every IEP team. You bring expertise about the grade-level curriculum, classroom expectations, and the student's daily learning environment. Your observations and input help shape meaningful goals, determine appropriate accommodations, and ensure that students can succeed in general education settings. Your role goes beyond attending meetings. You help bring the IEP to life in the classroom. An IEP team includes a range of people who work together to support the student. This typically includes a building administrator or district representative, the special education teacher or case manager, the general education teacher, and the student's parent or guardian. As the general education teacher, you provide valuable insight into how the student is performing in your class. You also help shape appropriate goals and share which supports are making a difference. Depending on the student's needs, other members may include the student, speech or occupational therapists, physical therapists, or other related service providers. Every voice on the IEP team matters, and collaboration among team members leads to better outcomes for students. As a general education teacher, you play an important role in both developing the IEP and tracking student progress. During IEP development, you contribute by providing input on the student's strengths and needs in your classroom. This includes sharing anecdotal information for the present level section and participating in the IEP meeting to describe how the student is doing. Throughout the year, you're also responsible for sharing data with the case manager. If a student is being considered for a functional behavioral assessment, you may be asked to collect classroom behavior data as well. Your input ensures the IEP reflects the student's day-to-day experience and helps the team make informed decisions. Now that we've covered your role in supporting students with IEPs, let's walk through the special education referral process. This section outlines what to do when you have concerns about a student who does not yet have an IEP. We'll look at how to strengthen Tier 1 supports, gather data, and collaborate with the right teams before considering a formal referral. Your involvement in this process is key to making sure students receive the right support at the right time. Special education is not meant for students who simply need extra help. It is designed for students who have an identified disability and require specially designed instruction to access and make progress in the general education curriculum. Understanding this distinction helps ensure that students are matched with the right supports through the appropriate process. Not every student who struggles in school qualifies for special education. To be eligible, 3 criteria must all be met. First, the student must have a documented disability. That might be a learning disability, a health impairment like ADHD, or something else that falls under IDEA. Second, the disability has to impact how the student performs in school, not just occasionally, but in a way that significantly affects learning. And finally, the student's needs must go beyond what can be addressed through general education alone. This means that even with accommodations or interventions, the student still needs specially designed instruction to make progress. It's the combination of all 3 that determines eligibility, not just the presence of a diagnosis. If you have ongoing concerns about a student who does not have an IEP, your first step is to ensure strong Tier 1 instruction is in place. That means using effective classroom strategies, checking for understanding, and differentiating as needed. From there, the multi-tiered system of supports, or MTSS, guides how we respond. Begin by collecting consistent classroom data. This includes academic performance, behavior patterns, and engagement. Data should be gathered over at least 6 to 8 weeks so that we can clearly see trends and responses to instruction. Work with your Tier 2 team to review the data and determine which targeted interventions are appropriate. Once interventions are in place, fidelity becomes critical. That means delivering the support as planned, with consistency and integrity. Continue tracking student progress during intervention. Is the student improving? Are adjustments needed? Data should drive each decision we make. If the student does not respond to Tier 2 support, the next step is to consult with your special education team. Together, you'll determine whether a referral for evaluation is appropriate. Strong data collection and intervention fidelity are essential, not just for documentation, but for making informed, student-centered decisions within an MTSS framework. As you begin the school year, there are a few key documents and tools you'll need to support students with IEPs in your classroom. First, ask the special education teacher or case manager for an IEP at a glance for each student receiving services. This summary highlights important information, including accommodations and goals. Take time to review it and ensure you're prepared to implement each support consistently. You should also receive a service schedule. This tells you when students will be receiving their special education services. The goal is to coordinate that schedule with your classroom so students don't miss core instruction. Having these tools in place early helps set everyone up for a smooth and successful start. These resources are available to help you deepen your understanding and strengthen your inclusive and Tier 1 instructional practices. Thank you for taking the time to complete this training on special education and inclusive practices. To finish, please complete the required exit ticket linked on this slide. It includes a brief reflection on what you learned and how you plan to apply it in your role. Your responses help us ensure alignment across our district and give us insight into how we can continue to support you. We appreciate your commitment to inclusion and your role in creating classrooms where all students can thrive.